Can you post on the official forum for it? I can't seem to do that on my keypad. Doesn't come up.
We're going to get started here.
Ever tried that?
Thank you all for getting up so early. I'm sure many of you are into your first or second bottle of ice cream by now. None of the people up here are. They were all in bed by 9. This morning. Thank you for attending the Future of EverQuest panel. What we're going to be doing today is, I'll introduce the panel members here in a moment, but we're really here to get your feedback on where we should take this game of ours. And by ours, I mean all of ours. We've been working for some time. I mean, EverQuest now is going into its 12th year, and EverQuest 2's 6th year. And we're not leaving EverQuest alone. We're going to be, and we have been working on something else. We're not here to talk specifics today. Although we've got our own ideas, we're really here to listen. We're going to be showing some concept art and some screenshots, and we'll point out which is which. Now, everything you're seeing is very early in terms of the graphics, but we've got some pretty amazing things that I think you'll really enjoy. So please, it's interactive. We're here to talk to you about the things you think this game should be. And without further ado, I'll introduce Clint Worley. Clint is the producer of the Future EverQuest, which doesn't have a name. When you hear the name EverQuest Next, it is only a code name. We have PlanetSide Next, we have EverQuest Next, we have other Nexts in the company too. So we're very focused on making sure that we keep the name under wraps until we figured out what it is. So it's easy to keep it under wraps. Clint was the producer on EverQuest, and I'd like to let him introduce his team.
Good morning, everyone. I've actually worked with Sony since late '95. I started off in QA and I kind of worked my way up. So I've been with Sony for a really long time. I was around the original development of EverQuest. I was working on some other games at the time, but in one way or another, I've been involved with EverQuest. In more recent years, I actually did do production on the game right around Buried Sea through a few expansions there. And many of the people that still work on the team, I work with them. So I'll go ahead and kick it off to the team. This is Rosie Rappaport.
My name is Rosie Rappaport. I've also been with SOE since I think 97, 96, somewhere in there. I was the original art director of EverQuest. I was also on the EverQuest 2 environment production team, and I was the art director of Free Realms.
I'm Ryan Barker. I'm a designer on the new project. I was on EverQuest for a really long time. I started during Luckland as an apprentice. I was doing customer service and worked on just about every expansion between there and here. So.
Hi, I'm Kevin McCann. Like Glenn, I've been there a long time, not as long as he has, but since '97. I started as a lead designer on a game called Tannerus, way back, a online tank game. Since then, thank you. Since then, I was also the creative director and lead designer on PlanetSide. And more recently, I worked on both Free Realms and Clone Wars for a little bit before moving on to EverQuest Next as a creative director.
So one thing about SOE, we've got a lot of people who have been here a long time. And although we've got over 1,000 people in the company, what we have more of than any company in the world is experienced MMO creators, both artists, programmers, designers, and a lot of our folks come from, this isn't very well known, but either our quality assurance department or our customer service department, and most of those are actually recruited from being players. So we're a very open company. We want people to be with us a long time, but we also focus on getting people a good career path. What that really means, though, is that people have a deep history with a lot of our games. They know a lot of the facets of a lot of our games, and EverQuest being kind of the biggest pillar of the company. There are naturally a lot of people that have been around it a long time. What we wanted to make when we're making the next EverQuest is something that's still keeps the flavor of the original and the lore and the core tenets of it, but we want to make something that is truly next generation. That means with the graphics, there's a great piece of concept art, and a little later on, I'm not sure exactly where, but maybe it's next, but there's another concept art. And you'll see some of these in early renditions of the actual gameplay. And it's interesting, people ask us, and you'll see some concept arts there, and Rosie's going to go into more detail on this, what the specifics are here, but the important thing to realize is that we want EverQuest players and EverQuest 2 players to feel like they're at home, but a new home, that's one that's really awesome. So let me go ahead and let Clint take over from here, and we'll just answer questions after each of the team members has a chance to talk.
Yeah, so just like John was saying, I mean, one of the things that we really benefit from is that the EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2 teams are based out of San Diego, or based out of San Diego. A lot of the people on the team have worked on either one of those teams, so we see some of the concept art up here, or even some of the in-game screenshots. They're all based off of popular places that you guys would kind of know and love from the other games. We are looking to give you, a new experience, but we don't want it to be one where you aren't familiar with certain NPC names or location names or things like that. So we are taking a little bit of a different approach on the art style, and I can let Rosie talk about that a little bit more.
What we're trying to get with EverQuest Next is definitely a distinctive art style. We're looking back to original EverQuest for some of the flavor and some of the charm that it had back then. This actually is an in-game screenshot. I'll let you guess what area that would be. You can see that we're looking to have it be much more colorful and color balanced. We have some great graphical programmers on the team that are working with the art team to really push the graphics and try to get some of the best stuff that we've had before. Combining a lot of what we learned on Game Realms about color balancing and injecting a lot of that sense of depth and really adding that really fantastical quality. You can see lots of very tall vertical structures in the environment. On the character side, we're focusing right now on the more sentient NPCs. For example, the kobold, the gnolls, the goblins, and giving them a lot of personality and really making them feel like a race in and of themselves. There's an idea of powerfulness, also power to the player characters, the way that they look. The female characters will be pretty. There should be a variety of body shapes that we haven't really seen that before. We've had very consistent looking female characters. We want to get something a little different for each race, powerful in different ways. You can see here the dark elf. This is the dark elf, and there's also an ogre in there. The idea for the ogre is that he's also a powerful creature. Oh, here's the ogre as well. So you can see a little bit more of, he's a huge creature. He's a little bit more sentient than what we've had in the past. Well, we're really working on getting this large silhouette change to the shoulder areas when you're wearing pauldrons, really having a large impact there.
Yeah, so kind of the format of this panel that we want to throw out there is, when I was working on EQ and many of the other producers that have worked on it before, there's definitely a connection between the players and the dev team. And, whether it's on the message boards or it's in Faire or, it's helping out with beta, there's just a lot of teamwork that happens, and it may not be evident to all of you, but we really do rely on a lot of feedback from you guys. And so we intentionally, in making of this product, wanted to make sure from the very beginning that, instead of us just going and making a game and kind of soliciting your feedback once we get to beta, we really want to take the opportunity now to kind of sit and listen to you guys and hear the type of feedback, the experiences that you had in EQ1 or EQ2 that you enjoyed, that maybe you didn't enjoy. It's really your opportunity to kind of interact with a good cross-section of the development team. Me on the production side, Rosie on art, Ryan and Kevin on the design, and then we go back to the office and we can kind of weigh in some of the feedback that we got of this. So I'd kind of like to just open the floor. We've got Tony Royce from our marketing department who can go around with the microphone and hear what you guys have to say.
I'd just like to preface this by saying I know it's tough to succeed in the MMO industry because you just look at all the AAA titles released over the last year, and most of them are just gone within a year. So I worry about EQNext because I want it to succeed. But this idea of a very powerful player, I think it flies in the face of the original "you're in our world now" concept, where the world is sort of harsher and larger than you, and you need to find friends and band together and work together to defeat things that maybe you can't take on by yourself. And I understand that it's important to draw the player in with, the feeling of personal power and accomplishment, but I think you also need the difficulty and the depth that comes with not being powerful in comparison to the world around you.
I totally agree. I think that the world around you, by contrast, has to be, hence this fantastical world where you're actually conquering even greater creatures, giving you an even greater sense of power.
And that image of Freeport, Rosie, how tall would you say that wall is outside there? When you put a character next to it, that's several hundred feet.
The character's just, you can see at the foot of the wall, the character's just as tall as the very base of that wall.
What you're talking about is exactly what we're going after. When we talk about powerful characters, we're talking about looks. And you still have to make the hero's journey. You still have to start out as the nobody and build yourself up. We're not. That's the fun of it. The whole fun.
All right. One of the things I was talking about with my friends when we saw the panel yesterday was one of the things that has really gotten us about EQ2 is a lot of us never played EQ, but we love the heritage quests. Heritage quests are just really neat and kind of give us a glimpse into some of the lore and stuff like that, and we're really hoping that going forward that there will be heritage quests that harken back to EQ2 and the original EQ and kind of keep on that same line.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right, and I think we definitely kept that in mind when building the world and determining which zones and all that kind of stuff we're going to put in. We want it to feel familiar, and you'll see people and places and things that are very familiar in the EQ universe, but they might be just a little bit different to kind of retell the story in a different way. A lot of those same characters are going to come together, but they may have very different relationships and very different paths they take as they progress through the timeline.
Yeah, actually, just to give you guys a bit of an overview of the approach that we are taking to EverQuest Next is, it is not taking place before or after EverQuest 1 or 2. Instead, it's a reimagining of the EverQuest universe. Think of it as being like the recent Star Trek movie, where it took place in the past, they changed everything, but the familiar faces, mannerisms, traits were all still there. It just gave them a fresh slate to tell a new story. So we're doing the same thing. Now when I say that, we're still having very familiar faces, places, races. We're not just throwing it from scratch, obviously. We want to rebuild it, but we also want to be able to tell a new, fresh story to our existing players, the past players, the new players we'll be getting. Beyond that, we're also going to be focusing emphasis on how we tell the story, basically how we deliver adventures and quests to you, making it more cinematic, making it more immersive. We're also going to be making combat more engaging, and beyond that, we're also going to be working on making sure we're guiding players through the game as well as possible. But beyond that, we'll go back to the suggestions.
Between EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2, something that was really lost was classes actually being what they're supposed to be. EQ1, bards were more effective with an instrument in their hands than a weapon. And now we are casters whose spell effects look like notes. Enchanters in EQ1, they enchanted, they created illusions. Illusionists in EQ2 can't cast a single illusion. If you're going to have a class like a bard, and I really, really hope you have bards or enchanters or such, please make sure that the name of the class actually reflects what they do.
One of our mandates was, in fact, to do that, was to make sure that the classes were representative of what they did. So that is definitely one of our real focuses when it comes to classes.
Thank you.
And that's even beyond the abilities and stuff. We're really making sure even the way they look sort of all ties in to the things that they're doing, and animations, everything.
And there will be less classes. It's closer to original EverQuest.
Oh, good.
Okay, this probably got hit yesterday, but what is the plan with EverQuest and EverQuest 2 once EverQuest Next comes out?
So, it's very interesting because when we made EverQuest, this was almost 12 years ago now. Actually, we started making it more like 14 years ago. 15 years. My son was just born. He's telling me. We did not know how long it would last. Our first prediction was 2 years, maybe 50,000 subs. Great success. We were so happy. We were very excited when it went way beyond that. We got way ahead of ourselves and announced EverQuest 2. And so we didn't realize how long EverQuest would last. We have a much better idea now of the lifespan of these games. We plan on supporting EverQuest and EverQuest 2 for the long and foreseeable future. What will happen with this when this game launches? I can't tell you how big the sub bases will be by then, but I am quite certain that they will be large enough for us to continue to go on with them for a long time. So I suspect they'll live side by side with them. We also did not do a good enough job with EverQuest 2 of giving people a way to transition from EverQuest 1 with some meaningful stuff and that kind of thing. And I've seen some other games do a really particularly good job of that. So we want to give that some thought. That doesn't mean you come into the game powerful. No, you start at level 1 and you work your way up. But we're gonna focus on making sure that there's some links there. So I can see that EverQuest 1 and 2 will continue to live. It really is up to us to support the game and up to you guys to continue to play them. And then our goal long term is to make this a very compelling experience that is a new one and that hopefully you all want to try. But people ask us, well, do you want us to move between games? And the answer is no. The answer is we want you to choose the game that's right for you. There are a lot of EverQuest players that played EverQuest 2 that said this is not for me for exactly the reason that you said over there about the bard. And look, I have to be honest with you. What is a dirge? I understand what a bard is. This is, I think we went in some directions that we want to try to change and maybe go a little bit back to where we got our start. So I hope I've answered your question on that. We'll continue.
Yes and no, but
well,
you gave me the politician's answer.
That's correct. I said we're going to
if this is really that much better, then wouldn't you expect a lot of the player bases to start migrating over that and give you a much lower player base on the other games?
So, when my time on EQ, it was an eye-opening experience to the players' kind of interaction with our titles. So, to be totally honest, when I came on as producer on EQ, I was very focused on accessibility and broadening the product so that new players could come in, and because of kind of the culture of MMO gaming right now, attention spans and the going and getting your corpse and things like that, you don't see that in a lot of MMOs. And what I in a crash course. I learned with EQ that it was like, there was things like course runs and those original experiences with EverQuest, that's what the players really enjoyed. That's what they felt like their characters, all of that time that they put in and the risk and all that stuff is what they really, really enjoyed. But I think that that kind of speaks to what John's saying. I don't actually think it's a politician answer. I think that it's like EQ has always been more of a hardcore MMO. I know many of you would say that what it is now compared to what it was when it shipped, it's not as much a hardcore MMO, but compared to the competitors in the market, it definitely is. And so I think that, you know, the goal is not to change the original EQ any more than it's being changed now. So when we offer a new title like EverQuest Next, you know, I guess it's all perspective. You know, a new game comes out, you know, do we expect all of our players to go to that game? I don't think that that's the goal. We're not trying to migrate our entire player base to a new game. Similar to like when EQ2 came out.